Hey everyone, this is Tammy Davis, and I want to thank you very much for joining me. Yes, this is Casual Sunday. This is my knee, so you'll see me getting comfy while I talk. Pretty much because talking, my mind starts to race. I know there's a lot of things that I want to say, and I have a tendency to try to say it all. And I think sometimes maybe it doesn't come out making sense. But anyway, the more comfortable I feel physically, I think the more I can actually convey the messages that I'm attempting to convey. So today I'm actually doing two. I'm going to split this up into two videos. I've got a lot I want to talk about. Predominantly, the two topics are number one, which is what this one's about, why I love essential oils to the degree that I do. I mean, what is it about essential oils, I should say, that has me completely speaking out in their favor, and at the same time issuing cautions left and right, because at this point our culture is not. There seems to be a lack of respect, is how I want to come out and say that. I mean, this actually stems from an IGTV video I just did a little while ago. I was out on my hike, and the description that I placed in there is that there's no wrong way to go about restoring health. There's no wrong way. Years back, I actually gave up, or did my best to give up, the context of right, wrong, and good and bad. That there is just what there is. I mean, I don't mean to say it is what it is. It is as it is how I like to say it. And so this is that what the video is about, is like, what is it about the oils that has me speaking out on their behalf? At the same time, the next video, just so you know, in case you're watching this sometime in the future and you want to know the sequence of how things are going, the second video is actually going to be more along the lines of aging and the use of oils. I'm not going to say as an anti-aging, but I will say just in the realm of aging, and maybe offsetting some of the signs of aging. So, without further ado, again, my name is Tammy. I've been messing around with titles because aromatherapist is not exactly something that somebody looks up to. I have been in the world of pharmacology and aromatherapy for nearly 30 years. So the technical term for what I do is aromatologist. I was working with aromacologist, but then when I started kind of looking, I mean, was playing with pharmacology, aromatherapy, and even though Garofalse is the father of aromatherapy, there's something about that word that just doesn't resonate. And it has been misconstrued. It has been abused. It's all over the place. It's on bottles of soap. It's on candles. I mean, we talk about aromatherapy, and in some respects, there's a validity to that. Pardon me. And at the same time, it's so much more when we're talking about essential oils. Okay, so scent alone could be considered aromatherapy, otherwise also known as olfactory therapy. Olfactory therapy does not have to be conducted with natural fragrances. It can be simply used with just fragrances alone. And olfactory therapy is about eliciting, soothing the autonomic nervous system. It's about maybe uplifting mind and mood, definitely restoring memory. So there's a lot to be said for olfactory therapy. And so, like I said, but you can do that with any scent. I prefer to do it with a natural scent because, again, I'm more concerned about, or I should say, additionally concerned about the full body health. And not just because the mind is directly affecting our physical health. So by all means, or by all rights, my title goes aromatologist. Like I said, I do have a background in pharmacology, and I also have a background in the science of nutrition, meaning the biochemical effects of the nutrients, macronutrients as well as micronutrients. A good portion of the last 15 years of my career has been devoted to studying primarily the epigenome, really trying to get to understand genetics, but the fact is that we, in my opinion, have really complicated our health issues. And that's the reason for the IGTV video today, because I was talking about digestion on that one. So you're welcome to check that out. If anybody is interested, I'm happy to post it here. In fact, what I might do is just upload it to YouTube, just not publish it. And then if you're interested in taking a look at it, I'll just please message me. And I will send you the link to that video, because it's really along the lines of essential oils and digestion, which kind of brings me to the point of this. What is it about essential oils that I'm so passion doesn't begin to describe it. What is it about oils, right? I mean, I get that a lot of people are familiar with them. A lot of people use them. And at the same time, and I know I'm sure I've mentioned this in other videos, but we're coming at this from a very conventional mindset. And that mindset is symptom relief. And oils, to me, without dancing around this anymore, it's just they actually breathe life into the cells. They are, in fact, signaling molecules. We have to be very careful with this, just like we have to be careful with any chemical. They are chemicals. And so therefore and I'm also doing a lot of actually providing what I would call aromatherapy 101 on my Synergessence Facebook page, where I'm providing information about oils down to we're talking about the chemistry of the oils right now. I've kind of put it on hold because I've got a couple of irons in the fire, several projects going on. And so I'm just looking for more engagement. And so I've just kind of put things on hold. But the whole concept here is to give you this message, this information, to convey the message that oils are, in fact, something that we need to be taking a little bit more seriously. And since we have the liberty to use them in our daily lives, again, this is a reason why I have aromatherapy as a lifestyle. Again, the title doesn't do it justice. Aromatherapy as a lifestyle is really the use of essential oils in a daily life, and this is really ideal. This is an ideal program for anybody living with a health issue, significant chronic health issue, because we do have them a lot. In fact, I'll give you an example right now. Phenols rather, are a type of monoterpenoid compound, and they're present in a number of oils. Oils like oregano and thyme. Now, there's different types of thyme, and oregano is incredibly popular these days. Everyone wants to take their oregano oil. And the thing is that there's phenols in this, and phenols on large doses are toxic to the body. But we're not paying attention to that because everybody's talking about it, or there's somebody started the rumor that, and it's not even a rumor. There is evidence to demonstrate that the essential oil of oregano has the ability to thwart microbes. There's no question about that. We already recognize that. In fact, this is something that I just posted in that Facebook page, is the types of oils that have demonstrated their effectiveness against viruses. So we see this. How this works with the individual depends, because everybody is different. And this is actually what they're doing in France. They're actually testing the individual when they do have come up with an infection. They're actually testing to see in a petri dish which oils would be the most beneficial for that individual, because there's our own genetic wiring, and then according to our chemistry and the way our body is attempting to keep us safe and healthy, it can cause or lead to adaptations within the microbe. This is how nature works. It's all through adaptations, and this is the reason why we're seeing, microbes that are more drug resistant. So in the case of, so this is again, so like I said, this is how they're doing it in France, where they're actually testing the individual in comparison to other oils. That said, oregano oil in this country, in the United States, is exceptionally popular. Everywhere I go, I have people contacting me about oregano oil, and there's really nothing poor I can say about it. I do hesitate a lot of times because people get annoyed with me. They want my opinion. I tell them what I know, and then they get upset because I've just gone against the popular consensus. Just because the majority or it's a popular conversation does not make it absolutely true. It doesn't make it an absolute truism for everybody. And in the case of oregano, like I said, it is high in phenols. And fortunately, it is watered down with, well, I say watered down, it's blended with other constituents. So therefore, it's not as potent. But the challenge that we're facing, again, I'm talking about aromatherapy as a lifestyle, is there's phenols in body care products and personal care products. So we're exposed to these phenols. And then when you add, large doses of oregano, or you got people using thyme because they were told it actually works against MRSA. I mean, well, there's some validity to that. These MRSA bacteria have adapted. So there's other oils that are a little bit more effective against them in vitro, but in vivo, in your body, it may be a little bit different. So, um, so like I was saying, we're getting into the chemistry of the oils, and it's very important to understand how to use them safely. But at the same time, I love them for more than their chemical abilities. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, as I mentioned a little while ago, they are signaling molecules, and something that hit me probably about 6 years ago, that they actually breathe life into the cells. And that's kind of, and I mean, and I don't know if that makes any sense. I mean, because our hormones are signaling molecules, so they actually will activate cell activity and deactivate cell activity depending on what the body needs. And the oils can do the same thing, or they do the same thing. This is one of the reasons why understanding what they're actually doing and how they work in the body makes all the difference in the world. And again, it doesn't have to be that complicated. We've managed to make it complicated with our conventional mindset. But if we just kind of look at, we have mental and emotional distress, we have environmental distress. And somebody just said to me this morning, well, because I was talking about including the oils, and I was explaining to him why. He does have various symptoms of cardiovascular and respiratory concerns. He definitely has digestive issues. But I was explaining to him, I said, even though these are helping along those lines, just the fact of you using them every single day, whenever you think about it, even if it is coming down to olfactory therapy and just smelling it, because like I said, the brain chemistry directly affects the physiological, the rest of the body. And this is what I was talking about in the digestive. I mean, how the neurochemistry is affecting our digestion and the role that our neurochemistry has in digestion. So using them at that level to actually restore inner peace, not to sound woo-wooey or airy-fairy or however you want to talk about it. Or when I say breathing life into ourselves, there is a consciousness throughout nature that we cannot encapsulate. We just can't encapsulate it, you guys. Science has been searching for the God gene. Science has been researching consciousness. This is Francis Crick was on this. He's one of the guys that discovered the double helix of the DNA. And one of his endeavors was to seek consciousness, because there is a fluidity to our existence, to what's moving us, what's causing all of the reactions in our system right now. And it's being doubly influenced by the environmental toxins. But like I said to this gentleman this morning, even if we were to eliminate all your mental and emotional distress and all you had to deal with was environmental distress, you're still, I just noticed that, if you saw me look down, I just noticed that there's a seam that has separated. So, oh well, thus is such is life. But even if we were able to eliminate the mental and emotional distress, there's still the effect of the environment. And what makes this difficult is that the environment, like I said, is full of signaling molecules. And if you haven't seen any of my other videos, thank you for watching this one. And you can take a look at the other ones. But the thing is that a good portion of the chemicals in our environment, and that could be in our foods, that could be in our personal care products, that could be in our candles, that could be in our health, in our home care, cleaners, could be in the air, can be in anything, the things that we drink. These chemicals are considered, a lot of them are considered lipophilic. They are recognized as what's known as endocrine disruptors, oftentimes called environmental estrogens. And so if all we were doing was combating that and the mental and emotional distress was gone, we were just happy as can be. We're still dealing with this distress. And distress, you can click on the link in the box below. The physiological effects of stress are rampant. And what ultimately happens is the body no longer or struggles to break down macronutrients, which makes it difficult for the body to assimilate the macronutrients. So if we're not being able to use our amino acids properly, if we're not even able to break them down properly, this is where MTHFR comes in, because the folate cycle is disrupted. So if we're not able to use our amino acids properly, the neurochemistry is going to be altered, because some is getting used, but not all of it's getting used. Okay, so that just starts to throw the system out of balance. Now, to top that off, you now have glucose that's not being broken down. And glucose is absolutely necessary. We talk about not doing carbs or not having sugars, but glucose in the system is absolutely necessary for the production of pentose and galactose and other sugars that are absolutely required for nerve and brain health, as well as eye health. So this, again, is very important in helping the body break these, not just break them down, but then begin to assimilate them. And this is another reason why I like the oils, because again, breathing life, they create a unification. They actually help align the system where our system is faltering. And our system is faltering because of the environment. So even again, I'm going to repeat this, even if the mental and emotional stress was gone and we were left with the environment, just think about that for a second. Okay, the environment is impacting us. It's creating distress. The stress is activating the stress mechanism. Okay, the stress mechanism alters the physiological function of the body, is a means of survival. Pardon me. So now you have larger particles of amino acids and glucose floating throughout the system that's just going to activate your immune system. That's just going to create even more stress. So even though mental and emotional distress gone, we're happy and we're happy campers, but the physical stress is now there because we're not getting the opportunity to use the foods that we're. So now what we're doing is we're macro dosing on or mega dosing rather on supplements of the micronutrients, but trying in an attempt to override these genetic differences. So when I say oils actually restore inner peace, this is significant. It's not just the sense of bliss. I'm not talking about triggering anandamide. I'm not talking about, acting like cannabis in the system. I'm talking about they really do begin to relieve the systemic or the stress mechanism. They actually help dial that down a bit. They help to de-escalate the situation so that the body can begin to shift the chemistry for more optimal physiological function. How else? What else? So, like again, like I said, so they are restoring. So they help inner peace, also known as stabilization. People may wonder how do you know which to use if you're dealing with systemic stress or stress. Well, let me tell you, you are already dealing with it, and your symptoms are a pretty good indicator. So this is why the symptom relief is important. But when this is more than mental and emotional distress. Okay, this is more than mental health issues. This is more than mood disorders, because again, the brain chemistry affects the physiological function. So this goes for anybody. And if we want to talk about, some people go, well, I don't have any digestive problems. Well, I would beg to differ with you. And to restore inner peace, it's not just about kind of relieving the anxiety or providing, uplifting senses of, instead and helping to uplift you if there's a depression going on. This is more than that. It's about, think about addiction. Think about the people that you may know that are uncomfortable in their skin, people who eat for comfort. I mean, I know at one point I remember seeing Oprah was coming out with her own, I don't know if they were her own recipes or what, maybe she even came out with her own line of food, her version of comfort foods. So, I mean, comfort is something that many, many people are seeking. This is the reason why we have addictions. This is the reason why we see people, wanting to curl up with a book on a cloudy day. I mean, we're always, we're seeking comfort, is how I want to say that. And that the reason we're seeking that comfort is because we are experiencing some level of discomfort, whether it's mental, emotional, physical. Discomfort is discomfort. So when we restore inner peace, we're actually relieving the discomfort. We're actually helping to restore comfort. And how many people do we know that are uncomfortable in their own skin? Maybe you are. How many times do we hear people talk about what they're afraid of? And I mean, the list is endless. And so the idea of, again, restoring inner peace with the oils, allowing the oils to be part of the consciousness that I was talking about. One of the things I started writing about recently is and it's the value to producing essential oils at a lower pressure, lower heat. Because think about it, anything that's exposed to high heat, it depends. Not everything does very well under high heat and high pressure. It's definitely changed. The chemistry's changed. This is what happens to sugar. This is what happens when you cook food. The chemistry is altered. This is what happens to chocolate. So to produce, and this is why we have there's a lot of people doing raw foods, and raw foods can only be processed up to a certain temperature in order to maintain the integrity, the nutrient integrity. The same thing can be said for the essential oils. So again, understanding the source of your oils, where they're coming from, who's producing them, were they produced mass produced at high rates of heat and pressure, or were they produced at lower rates of heat and pressure? The lower the pressure, the more integrity is maintained, the oil integrity is maintained. We're actually seeing higher levels of sesquiterpenoids showing up in the oils that are produced with lower pressures, which is very pharmacologically important. So again, if we look at the oils as being a part of nature, which they are, and if they're produced in such a way, they have the opportunity to extend or breathe life into our cells, inspire health, because that's what respiration is, right? It's taking in life, and we can inspire ourselves to be healthier. And inner peace is not just a spiritual term. It's a definite necessity when it comes to the degree of stress that our systems are experiencing. So that's all I'm going to say on that for today, I think. The whole concept here is to combine. Again, there's no wrong way to restore health. And a way to, any way is a belief system. And my belief system is the body is absolutely functioning. We have to follow its lead. And we can do so by tuning in, checking in on the symptoms, and identifying those symptoms and helping it to stabilize. And if there's medications involved, you absolutely need to be doing this with oils. There's no question about it. Again, especially with the content, the sesquiterpenoid content, this is where you find the dual mechanism of action. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions. Synergessence.com is in the description box below. That physiological effects of stress is in the description box below. Please join me on the Synergessence Facebook page. Tune in to see what we're talking about when it comes to essential oils, because it's not something that you're going to get in a book. It's a combination of what I've learned when I first got into this and my experience over the years, things like I talk about here. And I would love for you to consider aromatherapy as a lifestyle. Again, that title doesn't do it justice, because it's really about learning how to integrate essential oils in your daily life so that you get optimal function out of your mind and out of your body, and that you don't have any more conflicting, or we can lessen the chemical conflicts that are going on in our system. I also have the Breaking the Cycle of Disease Management, if you want to start there. It's in 3 parts. or you can just get the whole set. And that's also available on my website. So anyway, love to hear from you. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at TammyDavis8. That's in the box below as well. You guys be well. I'm going to turn this off, and get started on the whole idea of oils and aging. See ya.